Now, environmental crusaders are calling on African governments to push for ambitious and legally binding treaties in the upcoming 5.2 Intergovernmental Negotiating Committee, Inc. 5.2, on the Global Plastic Treaty scheduled to commence on August 5th in Geneva, Switzerland. Led by Center for Environment, Justice and Development Executive Director Gryphons Ochieng, the group says governments ought to speak as one to attain a treaty that protects human health and environment from plastic pollution across its life cycle. Opicho Chemtai with the details.
In the lead-up to the fifth resumed session of the Intergovernmental Negotiating Committee on the Global Plastics Treaty that happened last year in Busan, South Korea, and now expected to commence from August 5th to 14th in Geneva, Switzerland.
There are few elements, countries, that put their national interest before what is agreed African position. And that national interest which they are calling for is against what Africa has agreed universally as a position.
African Environmental Civil Society Coalition have raised concerns of being blocked from participating in INC's plastic treaty decision-making body.
And therefore, we civil society offer ourselves as technical resource persons. If we are not in the room, we are not able to support our delegates to make informed decisions. And this is very dynamic. Things change and there's need for information as the process continues.
Speaking during a media breakfast in Nairobi, the group led by SEJAD Executive Director Gryphons Ochieng says that global north countries continue to sabotage the closure to a globally binding treaty that ends plastic pollution due to their own interest at the expense of the welfare of African nations.
Anyone who is speaking that this treaty does not speak about plastic or health is not speaking to the African interest. Because Africa has come to realize that there is a pollution and it affects the health of its people. We are the front speakers.
So the lack of voting is what is keeping us here, because what happens when two people have distinct ideas that are opposing and parallel? How do we come to a middle ground? So that is the thing, that lack, because we're still leaving that place with an option zero.
The group further noting that and recycling efforts are important, it remains insufficient as long as plastic production continues to rise unchecked.
For Africa specifically, we do have some form of regulations to try and counter or try and deal with this problem. For instance, Kenya has banned single-use plastic carrier bags in 2017, and then in 2020 went ahead and put a ban on all protected areas. You find that our neighboring countries have not.
The waste pickers they don't know the plastic that is being recycled or not being recycled. Tunajua tuna majina, tunajua inaenda iendi, but we don't know the process, and that sometimes the recyclers, they don't take some plastics. So there's a time they take, there's a time they don't take.
Opicho Chemtai for Lunchtime News.